talk about how much of the situation we're in is you and how much is the past. You routinely blame the Tories for the situation you're in, but business leaders routinely say that it was your pessimistic messages in the autumn that discouraged spending, your national insurance rise that halted hiring and depressed the economy. Honestly, looking back at it now, did you overdo the doom and gloom?
You're watching a moment that should concern every taxpayer in Britain.
What I'm asking you about, the message you were giving and the Prime Minister through the autumn was, it's terrible, it's awful, we have to do all sorts of things. Did you overdo the pessimism?
You lot do realise this whole black hole narrative is pure political theatre, right? During the campaign, Reeves was confidently saying in interviews that she wouldn't walk into the Treasury pretending to be shocked about the state of the public finances. She even pointed to tools like the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR.
When the OBR says nothing in their review was a legitimisation of the number that has now been repeated 59 times...
Is that going to depress the economy further?
Well, look, the Office of Budget Responsibility will set out their forecast. I recognise that there are costs. Because it's them who do the forecast.
Because you're the Chancellor, and you've mentioned the OBR, I think, now 5 times. Who's running this country? Is it you or the OBR?
She starts spinning this horror story about unexpected fiscal chaos, blaming the Tories for hiding the truth. It's been 9 months since they took over and things have only gone downhill.
But I'm afraid I have to challenge the validity of his data on what he refers to as the black hole. Please let me quote Paul Johnson, the director of the Institute for Fiscal Studies, and I quote, "Rachel Reeves may be over-egging the £22 billion black hole. But most crucially, my lords, please let me quote Richard Hughes, the chair of the OBR itself, and I quote, nothing in our review was a legitimisation of that £22 billion figure."
Even before Labour took office, the OBR had already flagged the lack of detailed government plans to bring public spending down relative to GDP. It was all there in black and white. Tough fiscal choices were always on the cards. Reeves knew this and still reassured the electorate that she had a plan. And now? There she is in Parliament, pleading ignorance and pointing the finger, but that's not even the worst of it. Just look at what Ed Miliband was about to do with exactly £22 billion.
Yes, just to clarify, Ed Miliband is committing £22 billion of your money on technology that probably doesn't work.
Just to be clear, of that £22 billion, nearly half £9 billion comes from the government's own decision to hand out above inflation pay rises to various public sector workers, not to mention all the perks, benefits and freebies that go along with it. Have a look.
On a personal level, this week, Chancellor, you've been accused of having a tin ear regarding saying yes to freebies. Now, after the whole freebie scandal, which engulfed your government in their first few months in office, it was a disaster for you in PR terms, you'd think that people like you would avoid new freebies like the plague. But last week, we learned that last month you accepted £600 worth of seats in a VIP box for a Sabrina Carpenter concert. Not got much to do with government, has it? And then a few weeks after that, £276 worth of free theatre tickets. Why don't you pay for your own tickets? Don't you see how this looks? A Chancellor who's making these kinds of cuts to working people and poor people accepting free tickets. It looks awful. Are you going to accept any more freebies?
Well, I absolutely... I do recognise how it looks to people. Since I've become Chancellor, my life has changed a lot. It's a privilege of my life to do this job, but with it does come security concerns that I'm not able, like I was in the past, just to buy tickets for a concert and sit with my family. And so, for security reasons, I did take tickets in a box.
So I have a simple question, please.
But why does the security concern mean that you can't pay for them?
How do you justify this to the public, especially to those who've worked hard their entire lives, aren't wealthy, and don't have money to spare? Reeves' rhetoric is a cynical attempt to justify cuts and, quite possibly, lay the groundwork for tax hikes, all while she and the rest of the Labour Party continue to preserve and even expand their own perks and privileges. The real issue here is the lack of any strategic economic planning and Labour's inability to put forward a coherent vision for growth and investment.
And one of the other things you said to me and to this committee on the 6th of November is that you wouldn't be coming back for any more tax increases. Can you confirm to the committee today that you won't be raising taxes?
There's a lot of questions to
Answer the last one first.
I said in the budget last year that it was a once-in-a-parliament budget. I'll make no apologies for doing that.